Hold on tight. Please keep your trays in the upright and locked
Flummery.
position.
The Flummery.
To the Flummery.
You do anything you want me to.
Flummery.
To your earlobes.
The Flummery. The Flummery.
To the Flummery.
To your earlobes.
Flummery.
The Galley Beach, Frosty the Frostage.
To the Flummery.
Sorry, that's the Scoop Steve.
To the Flummery.
Flummery.
Frosty the Frostage. Galley Beach.
To the Flummery.
Into the Flummery. To your earlobes.
Flummery.
You do anything you want me to.
Earlobes. The Flummery.
Hurry up.
And welcome to the Flummery 45, Colt 45 caliber. We would like to welcome our special guest this evening, Nick, from Nick and Vince podcast.
Where is my Colt 45?
I did not buy that or the hams you requested.
All right, did you bring Billy D. Williams then?
I did not bring Billy D. Williams. We can just pop in Star Wars.
Question is will he make an appearance on any future Star Wars movies?
Right. Yeah, I know. I kind of, I was kind of, why didn't they use him?
They just had too many characters going on.
Right, I know. Right.
And action.
So when I came on, this is the purpose. The reason I wore this shirt is to talk about Youngblood. I found it in my dresser, so this is it. This is
Youngblood tonight.
It's Youngblood. Yeah.
This is our special Youngblood episode.
Everybody
knows.
Second greatest hockey movie. It cannot surpass Slapshot.
Oh, okay.
It just can't. It's just going to
Is
be
your third favorite Goon?
Goon could be third because none of the Money Ducks are
They're not good enough. For me.
No, they're
kids'
That's
movies.
a miss.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it would probably go in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
If they try to remake
surprised you agree with
Youngblood,
that.
I'd be very mad.
I'll bet there's people who would be able to throw a couple of hockey movies in there that maybe we hadn't even seen or that they think are some of the best.
Right.
But, I mean, let's Slapshot. Let's just... Nobody's going to win that freaking argument if they're talking about something's better than Slapshot.
Well, it's in Minnesota. It's in January. And it's like hockey. I mean, I don't even watch hockey as much as I used to. But it fits, right?
I can't skate, and it still gets in my blood right around this time because I wish that the league, like all the warm weather teams, can fuck off, and then we get rid of those, and then we reduce the schedule to like 48 games or something.
Yeah.
So everybody plays each other twice. So I guess it would be like 60 or whatever. But we'd be getting rid of some teams. So yeah, it'd be like 40-some games.
My little funny thing is people who complain there's too much fighting in hockey.
Not anymore.
No, well, there's not as much, but the people who always go, this is too much fighting. I don't see you turn away from the television when a fight goes on.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody going to concessions to have a drink when the fight goes on.
There's too many crashes.
You're watching it as it's, I'm tired of this fighting, but you're still watching it.
There's too many hard hits in football,
Right.
There's too many sweeps in curling. Sick of the sweeping. Why do they even do that?
So what is this whole state is just in anxiety mode today or what? Are you?
Did you? Well, the last episode, of course, you saw was a special Vikings playoff episode. And this one could be, I don't want to get too much into it, but
right.
We're all excited.
It's just a collecting of. It's just the whole state is a collective puckering, isn't it?
I think so. Well, did you notice? It seems way more positive this year than it did the last time that we were in this position.
Okay.
And I think that it's because people actually believe it could happen the right way this time. Meaning, even if they lost, it wouldn't be because of some bullshit. It would be because, it was
like
just two
Gary
defenses
Anderson.
killing each other, And I think they just believe in this team a lot better than they did the last team.
Sure.
That was in the same position. So I think all around people feel it's a better team. Yeah. And so I was wearing my Viking shirt.
I think it starts with questioning your quarterback, which nobody's really questioning him at all.
I don't think there's any reason to either, right? I mean, yeah, you're
all
right.
Before
I
it
think
was
you're
all
right
like
about that.
You would question your quarterback, and then it came down to your kicker and everybody else, and nobody does that on this team right now.
You know what I like about Case is he's the kind of guy that would do the most screwed up thing, right? A really bad play, and it doesn't affect him anymore.
Yeah,
right.
he just wipes it clean.
All right, we're done. Like the big, the play before the big play, the one that they ran out. The previous one, he was, what the heck are you doing? It was a throw that was not even worth catching and all that. And then the next play is just like
the most amazing play in football.
Right, and you need quarterbacks like that. They're almost like pitchers who get a home run off of them, and it just doesn't affect them.
I'm pretty sure I saw. I'm pretty sure I saw that that was the only time, like a walk-off touchdown, in the playoffs since like the merger.
Yeah, I've only seen like high school level. I've never really seen collegiate. We always seen field goals and stuff like that, or a fourth. You've never really see that kind of a thing running down the clock. Yeah.
It seems like always field goals.
Yep.
Which makes sense because it's a safe play when they get within 30 yards and they're like, okay, let's get this thing through the uprights and win the game. But I think the other thing that happens is, the other thing that I noticed with the positiveness, I was wearing my Vikings sweatshirt, right? And I went to Total Wine. And I come out of Total Wine. I'm walking down the sidewalk. This other guy's walking down the sidewalk looking at his phone. He looks up at me and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hey, man. And he goes, and I'm like, do I know this guy? And I'm still looking at him right in his eyes as he's walking by me. And then he's like, Skull. And I'm like, yeah, man, Skull.
Did you guys both do this?
No, I just said Skull. 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 So, yeah, it's pretty positive atmosphere. I want to throw something in here real quick since we're just getting started.
Yeah.
We are up live, obviously, on YouTube. And if you know that already, you probably got there through the Flummery page on Facebook or just caught us on YouTube somehow.
Sure.
But we are monitoring. We're trying to monitor YouTube and the Flummery
Why don't you give
page.
Nick a little drop here, too?
I will.
Yeah.
We're going to actually, I'm going to make him do his own because I want you to do give us a comprehensive list.
We'll
But
do
go
it
to
at
the
the end,
Flummery.
too.
We'll take comments. We'll take questions if you have them. But if you just want to be a listening turd, then do that too.
Yeah. I got it
watching.
on, I put it on our Twitter. If you're following us on Twitter, we're on Twitter, going live. So if you have any questions, I'm monitoring that as well.
Nice. Tag team.
Yeah. Tag team. Ha! So, yeah, you guys kind of, we took a, there.
Go.
So, Nick and, Vince and I, we took a break, and you guys are like, hey, come on out before you start your podcast again. And that's kind of the thing we're doing, kind of kicking off our podcast again tomorrow. So this is like our pre-party party. So,
Party.
And we
You guys took like a winter break like college students did?
Yeah, because it gets too cold. It's like, I'll do you a solid, Vince. Why don't we take a break and you don't have to start your car for 10 minutes and drive to the studio. All right, we're in winter.
Is that his biggest complaint?
Yeah. And I was like, well, then I can go back to the book. I don't have to, worry about all the, the podcast stuff and stuff like that. So I got a little bit of break. But then when you're not podcasting, you're thinking stuff what you could do for your podcast, and when you're on the podcast, you're thinking stuff up for your book. It's all that. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was good for you.
Renaissance,
doing your work on your book as well, too, though, right?
Yeah. Then you start getting in a groove, right? You almost like when you do music, you get in a groove and you don't want to get away and just start doing other stuff. So, and then our first topic, we're talking about Frankenstein, because it's been the book came out exactly 200 years ago this month.
Really?
It came out January 1818.
The more you know.
The more you know. So.
You guys know that Frankenstein actually is the doctor, not the monster.
Yes.
It's Frankenstein's
The
monster.
doctor or the doctor?
The doctor.
Doctor. Yeah, we covered the whole spectrum. We covered the book. I actually had to read the book, and it's not all that interesting.
Really?
Yeah, it's not.
The Mary Shelley, right?
The Mary Shelley book
the
is not
classic.
really that. Yeah. And then we actually had to Frankenstein it up because we had so much material and we covered so much things, so we had to cut it up in pieces and fragments. So we actually have 2 parts to it now.
Wow. All right. That's good.
So
any young Frankenstein involved in the
we didn't talk about it as much as we should. That movie is such a classic. It is. I love it.
The original?
Yeah, the young Frankenstein and how they make fun of the other previous ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
There's so many. My friend Dan and I would just start spitting lines at each other the whole time.
I wish I could. I've seen it about 10 times, but it's probably 15 years ago that I watched that.
He passed away not too long ago.
Gene.
Last
Gene,
year,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's not very in that movie. Not very many people left.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much all gone.
Yeah.
Well,
Gene was 86 or something like that, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the woman, the the female comedian, she died young, years and years ago.
The only people I know that
Yeah,
are
she had cancer or something
Yeah.
like that.
the only ones I know still alive is Terry Garr, and then the Frau Brooker.
She was a baby.
yeah, Cloris Leachman. She's still alive.
Really?
Yeah, other than that, I think everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Except for Mel Brooks, which that's the best thing about this movie is he's not in the movie,
And that
but
fucker's still kicking it like he's
I know.
70 years old.
I know.
He's so full of life still.
Because
man.
from like 60 to 150, all your shit's still the same anyway. You're hobbling around. Your jokes are they're perverted.
But
They're
I mean, Young Frankenstein isn't a Mel Brooks. I mean, he just wrote the check for it, but Gene Wilder wrote and directed it. But Mel, he has to get himself in
amazing.
it. So
So awesome.
he's the voice of the cat when the dart throws.
Yeah.
He's a wow.
Is he gonna?
So
I mean,
he has to somehow get win it.
another question is:
Yeah.
Is Spaceballs 2 gonna come out?
Oh,
oh, why?
I don't know.
Why?
Well, they can't have John Hurt in there. John Hurt can't.
You can't have John Candy.
You don't have John Candy.
You can't have John Candy. You can't have John Hurt. Remember, he reenacted the
have
whole
John-
monster
you-
coming out of
We
him.
don't have Joan Rivers anymore either.
Was that him?
That was John. They actually got John Hurt to go in that cafeteria to say, "Oh no, not again," and a monster come out of him again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's at the end of the movie.
yeah.
It's in the
And then it
space
does the
diner, and
frog thing.
you see the Millennium Falcon parked outside too, or something like
Something
that.
like that. Yeah.
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 And then doesn't he do the Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
frog?
the
Yeah.
Warner Brothers dance and
Hello,
everything.
my baby.
You know what's
Hello,
funny is
my
you can see
darling.
the little thing under the table, like fucking moving along.
the stick.
Just
I talked about, but Mel Brooks went to George Lucas and says, "Hey, I'm making a movie making fun of your Star Wars stuff," and George is like, "That's fine, just don't merchandise it." Well, you tell Mel Brooks to do something, what the hell is he going to do? He's going to do it, and he put it in the movie. Spaceballs the T-shirt, Spaceballs the lunchbox.
Spaceballs the movie.
Say something.
well, it's kind of funny because I actually just
They
watched
put it in and rewind it.
The Toys That Made Us is on Netflix now. Have you seen that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you see the Star Wars one?
I've never
It's
seen
the
this.
first episode.
I
And they
guess
talk
I'll have
about-
to see that. I
They're
haven't
talking
even touched
about
it.
like how Kenner was like a no-name company before they got a hold of him,
Right.
and they they were trying. Nobody wanted to touch Star Wars because they didn't know how it was gonna do. And then the movie came out, and they had and that came out in April or May or whatever.
May.
And by Christmas time they still didn't have
78.
toys, but they got the contract.
Right.
And that's kind of funny, but that goes along with the Mel Brooks stuff where let's get the merchandise out,
Right.
And that's what totally Star Wars did right after that. They're like, wow,
Genius. I mean, it's brilliant. It's the best thing. Like that the first. Well, that wasn't the first example of the merchandising.
no, it hadn't been
thing,
done
I
in
mean,
a
but-
few years because they did that with like G.I. Joe and Barbie, but that had been like 10, 20 years prior to or whatever, or even 30, but nobody was doing it. So Kenner's like, we need to get on this train and get the rights.
And write it.
Yeah. And Kenner made out with that deal. They made every dollar they made 95 cents, and the 5 cents
No
went
way.
to Lucas and whoever was the
Well,
release.
well, still George
Whatever
made, yeah.
movie brand was behind them at that time.
Well, whatever George made, he still made more money than the movie. He made more money on the merchandise.
the merchandise made
Yeah.
2 times to 3 times the amount of what the movie made.
It had to be even more than that. I would think.
No, it's about the
for him
two
to
thing-
make more though.
Yeah.
We explained a little more because in a couple podcasts ago we talked about He-Man, which is another episode on the Netflix Toys thing.
Yeah. Well, they got on board right after the Star Wars thing. The He-Man thing came on and all that
is-
stuff.
And the
Going-
reason why Mattel, and we talked about the reason why Mattel started He-Man is because they lost the bid. They thought there was too much. George wanted too much money, and they said they balked at it and go, no, thank you. And then Kenner took it, and then Mattel's like, we got to do something to compete with this. And they came up with this whole version of Conan the Barbarian and turned it into He-Man, which is to compete with the Star Wars dollar.
And another thing, you know how the dolls,
Castle of
like the G.I. Joe dolls used to be
Yeah.
really big.
Oh yeah,
Well, they're like, we're going to release this universe where we have ships and stuff. So the reason they came up with the size for the figures that they did.
okay.
So they're like, we got to put these in. You can't make a Millennium Falcon for a doll this big.
oh, for the Star Wars action
Yeah,
figures,
so like we can't have something that fills up your whole goddamn living room. So,
Hinged at the pelvis.
so the guy, the head of Kenner, goes, "How big will you make him?" And the guy goes, "With his fat, they called him. He had little fat sausage hands. He's like, make them this big." And then he's like held it out, and like, one of the execs like measured it. And he's like, "All right, 3.5 inches it is." And that's how they got the size of the Star Wars figures.
Have you seen the Bubba Jet prototype at a convention?
Wait.
It's the golden.
they
holy
talk
gra-
about that.
Yeah,
That's
the holy grail of
it's
action figures.
Yeah, action figures, the holy grail, because the original one was supposed to have a rocket launcher or a missile out of it.
Yeah.
But they couldn't release it that way. So when it came out, it was a solid piece.
Yep.
But the prototypes had the launcher out of
one?
it, and that's the fucking golden boy right there.
You find that's like the golden gem of action figure
They're like
collecting.
$20,000-$30,000.
Which is funny because it's
for
like
one.
Yep.
so many clones came out of him, and so many action figures came out of his character too.
Yeah, the Boba Fett action figure I had did have the rocket, but it was fastened in there.
Yeah.
You can't move it. But
I
the
did
ones
too.
if you can find it with the button and it projects,
like-
they thought kids were gonna hit them in the eyes and stuff like that. So they just like can't. Do
There's that guy that owns he owns the most memorabilia. It's called Obi-Wan Ranch or whatever it's called. And
Yes.
He's got 2 of them,
Oh my gosh!
and it's in a locked case in his special room.
Oh my gosh! I went to
He's
a
also a gynecologist.
Comic-Con in Chicago, and they had one of those, and then they had a remake, just a replica
Yeah,
remake.
you can actually buy like
yeah.
a correct remake. They sell it online. You can find it somewhere. I mean, it's obviously not the
Right.
real deal, but you can find it somewhere.
Yeah. So you still got your action figures? Mine are gone.
They're in my parents'
this
house
might
in the
get weird,
attic
I'm
somewhere.
sorry.
And I have an ATT AT-AT walker. And,
You got to be kidding me!
and
Really?
and I have probably the Millennium Falcon somewhere sitting around.
And those fit in there?
There's a delay.
The
No.
action figures fit
Yeah.
in there?
I mean, the Millennium Falcon was probably like this big.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that thing. I mean, you guys probably reenacted Star Wars when you're a kid out in the street.
Oh, we did everything. Yeah, I mean, we did.
I mean, I would just play with my figures.
It was always
and
G.I.
then
Joe.
Tell my friends to fuck off. But,
You would?
yeah, I'd be like, I'm fucking playing with Star Wars, dude.
Get out of here.
Han Solo's way better
Oh,
friend than you are.
Leia. Oh, Chewbacca. Wait.
When I was a kid, I wanted Han Solo. You know, I don't want mysticism and powers and a sword. Who cares? I wanted a spaceship. I wanted a gun. I wanted a pet.
That's why I love Chewbacca.
And I wanted a princess girlfriend. Everything Han had, that was gold.
Yeah.
Han is, probably. Chewbacca's, of course, my favorite
He's like the
character
kid
ever,
from the
but
other side of the tracks that had a fast car.
I always
you know?
liked Han
Right.
better than
The
Luke.
leather jacket.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always liked Han better than Luke.
He was like the Steve kid.
But in the last movie, I liked Luke the best. I thought
Right.
that was his best Luke ever.
I still think Lance's beard is better than Luke's.
It's
Yeah.
it's probably more real.
I'm not getting too in depth because
Right.
we talk about the
I
Last
know, we
Jedi
got
all the time.
bombarded. Yeah.
Why not?
What was your thoughts on the movie? I don't want to make this whole.
depth with you. We got time.
One couple of seconds. I'm not happy how Star Wars treats death. You know, that's the big thing about Game of Thrones is how they treat death. I mean, once you're done, it's done. It's not this 5 minutes of a dying scene. Star Wars, it's like, okay, you're dying, and then we'll take 10 minutes and talk about it and everything. It's just, you're dead. Just do it. Just move on. And they can't do that. They just can't.
They use the deaths of like Obi-Wan and as as fuel for the next Jedi
Yeah.
to become more powerful and more, which is funny because it's supposed to use anger or whatever, but obviously they're upset.
Well, yeah.
They're scared, upset, and angry when that happens in front of them. Just like Luke, when he sees Obi-Wan get cut down, he freaks out, starts shooting it, and you're not supposed to use that. And it seems like they use that, and they used it for Anakin because they were threatening to kill the Emperor, or Palpatine.
Well, what was the best movie you guys saw this year? I don't know if he said it. What was, of all the movies last year, because there was quite a bit. It was bombarded.
One that stands
Interstellar. No, I'm just kidding.
Interstellar. You're a little too late. Yeah.
2014.
It's too, yeah.
2014.
I know, but I always talk about it.
Say one Wind
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Wind River.
Yeah.
River is
absolutely.
probably one of the best.
That's in our top 10.
Is it?
Yeah, number 4.
That was such an amazing movie when I watched that movie.
It's not the feel-good movie of the
No,
year.
it's not.
But
Like it's loud.
I've only
Like
seen
when
2 of those far.
when the gun
Yeah.
stuff's going on in that, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah,
Oh, and the standoff.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I,
And then the scene that kind of is the beginning of the movie but played near the end of the movie.
right.
Let's put it that way. Like how everything gets set off is amazing. That guy who he plays Punisher also now.
John Berthal is in it.
Berthal, thank you. Yeah, the guy that plays him.
He had a great year last
He did
year.
a great job. I mean, that scene was so intense. I mean, and I hate seeing that. What happens in that scene, which I won't say what it is. I hate seeing that on film.
If you go back and rewatch it, you'll notice that when Terry Sheridan did this movie, he wrote the movie, and he directed it.
Mm-hmm.
All the important scenes take place with a door, a part of the story. So the beginning where Jeremy Renner's character enters his ex-girlfriend's house, so he can only stay by the door.
Right.
When the FBI agent comes, she can only by the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a door is a metaphor of going in and out of different cultures and how they able to handle you. In fact, the most
Is that something they discussed, or is it just something
I think
you
it's just a
noticed?
motif in the movie of a door. Everything important happens in front of a door. In fact, the most important
after the
editing
standoff.
happens right at a knock of a door, and it's
Yeah.
slice. You can hear the slice, and then it comes into. So, Terry, if you watch it again, there is a lot of door everything is framed with a door and part
you got
of
me
it.
thinking, and when they go. Yeah, when he's talking to right at the beginning of the movie, this is the only thing we'll really say in detail. A young girl is killed. He's found dead.
Well, that's the whole plot. You can't.
Right, it's the beginning of it. It's fine. It's not a spoiler. So, but we're not going to spoil this movie. But there's a scene where Jeremy Renner has to tell her dad,
Yep.
and that's all right.
It's also
there.
in front of a door.
What did you put that on your top 10 list?
That was actually number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your number 1?
Number 1 and number 2, there was kind of but I put Dunkirk. That was a fight with Vince. And it's like he thought it was boring. I thought it was actually inventive, and I think that's going to be a struggle.
You thought it was boring?
Yeah,
It was
I didn't-
done
I
really
did-
well.
I didn't think it was. I definitely didn't
was
think
a
it was boring.
Beautiful movie.
I thought it was great.
I think if you
Holy
like
shit.
because if you like film, and I love film, I don't get bored watching films, and I appreciate it. It's almost like for film, you
How
can't
it
read a
was
book
done.
that's bait. You know,
You like
the way
how it
done.
was done.
Yeah, it's
like
just
that.
shot. So, and it's shot in IMAX. That's 700. That's 70 millimeter. That is tough to frame all that with
It
a big
is.
lens.
Yeah.
All the stuff, how they get it in an airplane, you know, and how
It's
they
an
get the,
amazing.
Yeah.
The way that it looks, I was just blown away.
and it has a.
I
There
never,
are
I
things
never
I didn't
really
like
looked
about
at a
it, but-
70 millimeter camera. That's a pretty big.
It's a big. Well, the modifications 10 years ago when they did The Dark Knight, it was a clunky thing, but now from modifications, that's able to just you can actually handheld the thing now.
Yeah.
Now you had to have it before 10 years ago. You had to have a crane and move the thing,
Right.
or mount it on a car.
Yeah.
It took forever. I mean, even how they did the chart.
So the technology is caught up and made it
Dark
more
Knight?
small.
Yeah, and based on Nolan's pressure, this is the best film. Why aren't we making movies in the best material out there? We should make
Yeah.
more movies in this material.
So they're probably like, oh, it's way more expensive. But now once they've shrunk down the technology, it's probably a lot less expensive than it used to be. So
It is,
why not?
and it's a lot more accessible. They're able to get it into submarines and in water, and he demonstrated. That's another thing why I like Dunkirk. They demonstrate all these things that you can do with 70 millimeter cameras.
It was cool. The beach scenes, of course.
Yeah.
Just the length of the shot. It
Yeah.
just seemed different than if you just point a regular camera down the beach.
And much like
Because it was
yeah.
wider. It seemed like you'd get more of the periphery too.
Right.
But it was still this long
that band.
strip of me too.
It looked-
There's still this long strip of, sand, like it kind of set.
Yes.
It was the focal point, but there was still the panorama was a lot bigger.
You just
So
feel
you-
all the
yeah.
texture in it. You
Yeah,
feel the
it's very
loneliness. I mean, and then I like Nolan. He doesn't dumb it down for you.
No,
Like the whole scene of the guy going in the ocean. You know what he's gonna do. He's given up, and they're just sitting and watching him. Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna stop him.
Yep.
And they don't see him again. There's no audio. There's
He
no.
doesn't baby you with tricks that they
No.
use either. He just tells the story and hopes that you understand how things are connected.
But when that movie started, wasn't it like a big shock? We watch so many movies that they slowly bleed in. That movie just
That was-
started.
Yeah, it was in the streets. They were in the streets. He was
Yeah.
trying to get out.
and it just
to the-
start. Boom.
Actually, the
right,
kid was trying to
right
take a
to
shit.
the. He's trying to get to the ocean.
Yeah.
What was number 2?
Number 2 is definitely
Number 2.
3 Billboards.
I haven't seen that yet.
Me neither. I guess I didn't know I was supposed to. It's that good?
It's going to win awards.
What did Vince think about it?
He hasn't. Since we did the recording, he has seen it. And my critique of it is, if you're so movie savvy, I mean, you've seen many movies. I've seen thousands of movies. They all have this thing that you kind of watch and go, okay, this is how it's going to play out. This is how it's going to play out. This is how it's going to happen. Not one step of that movie did what I thought it was going to do. and that was such a
So-
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I can deal with Woody Harrelson all day long. That's great.
and he was great in it. And she has friction with the police, and then she gets called down to the office, and you go,
Sam
okay.
Rockwell in it too.
Yeah, he's gonna get an Oscar. I mean,
You think
You think
so?
so?
oh yeah,
Well, all right. I'll have to watch it.
it's gonna
then.
be either
I love
him or
him too.
Christopher Plummer. And Sam Rockwell was so hilarious, sad, and funny at the same time. He just played it very well.
Right.
I got a quick question for you. Since Woody Harrelson kind of popped up because we're talking about that movie.
Well, he had three great movies last year.
So, okay, I was about to ask, did
Yeah.
you think War for Planet of the Apes
Yeah.
was as good as I thought it was?
I did, and the only reason I didn't have it on our mentions or top 10 list was I didn't like the ending. It's the only thing.
That was actually I was you know what, I didn't like really much that
liked
series,
the
but I
ending.
watched that and I told Adam, I'm like, I actually really liked that movie.
I liked
Yeah.
the ending.
I
I thought it was
You-
perfect.
the only thing
Were
about
they
the,
escape into the trees and stuff?
well,
Is
the
that what you're
whole
saying?
the
No,
whole
the-
take forever with the
When Caesar
and
dies.
it's like it's a coda that takes a little bit too longer. And I thought if he just kind of ended quickly, and that's my problem with Baby Driver. I love Baby Driver, but the ending was just 2 minutes, 10 minutes too long. It didn't need to be that long.
Yeah,
I
like you've
didn't
got
see it
Caesar.
yet. You,
I guess
you
spoiler
were,
alert.
You were watching it because of Kevin Spacey, though, right?
Why not? What's up with Kevin Spacey? I don't get it.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
John Berthel is in
my
Baby
buddy.
Driver. John Berthel is in
And
Wind
Punisher.
River.
He's a Punisher.
And the best thing about him in Baby Driver is he goes to the lead character and says, "If you never see me again, I'm probably dead." And then in the whole movie, you never see him again.
That's funny.
Like, oops, see ya.
He was actually in Sicario too.
yeah, yeah,
He gets the shit kicked out of him by Benicio.
yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
What part is that?
Well, she's at the bar, and she starts. She needs a little love. She gets drunk. He meets her, and then
it's
he's
coming
like,
back to me.
I think he gets paid. He was paid by the mafia or whatever, the cartel, to like take her out. But Benicio got like kind of wind of that or whatever, and like came and kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah, okay.
You remember
And
that?
he was a cop. He played a cop. And I think he was getting paid, though.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I don't know if he was a cop, but I know he was getting paid to take her out.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he was pretending to be a cop.
he's
Well,
probably
whatever.
he was probably going to carve a piece off of her and then take her out, or just rough sex. I mean, I don't know.
So
I'll take that
If you
time
want,
to
I'll
let you
just-
know that this
I'll-
is a parental warning.
if you want, I'll just give you my top 10.
Do it.
Just
Let's go
spit
right
it out.
down there. I mean, we didn't want
Well,
to.
do we want to? We want people to check out your episode, though.
Yeah.
I mean, by now we've had so much. I mean, a lot of people have already listened to it. I mean, they've already. But our top 10, Vince and I, we join ours together. So it's a water.
And then you guys like.
argued about it.
Yeah, we argued and fight about it. But number 10 is Get Out. I mean, that is has to be on everybody's list. Get
I
Out
would
was
put
great.
that higher because that was one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Number 9 is one that I don't think anybody knows about. It's called Professor Marston and His Wonder Women. And it was a movie that has Luke Evans.
It's a porno, right?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
It's the story
Sounds like it.
of
Sorry.
It's the story of the guy who created Wonder Woman in his real life.
his relationship was weird. Like his
Yeah.
wife was.
That wasn't in
bi.
theaters, was it?
Yeah. What?
That wasn't in theaters, was it?
It was for about a week.
Select theaters.
Yeah.
He had a polygamous relationship.
Her name is Angie Robinson. She wrote and directed this movie. It took her 10 years to get it made. So it sounds like they made this movie right at the year Wonder Woman came out, but it took so long to finance and get it made that it came out this time. And it really is a good movie. I really like Rebecca Hall. She plays a wife. But yeah, in real life, Professor Marston and his wife brought in a student to live with them, and they all have a poly relationship, and it kind of ruined their whole lives. They got fired from their professor, the colleges, and he had to turn to comic book writing to survive. And turn
glad
it
he
into
did.
Number 8 will be Wonder Woman. That's in our top 10. Number
It is
7
good.
Is The Disaster Artist.
Okay, I didn't see it. I should.
That's a great movie. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, happy birthday! Oh,
And I told Vince,
I reference that movie all the time now.
and I told the reason why I put it on the list and the reason why I like it is because the movies that we talk about after I said Disaster Artist are really good movies,
Yeah.
but nobody's going to go to a midnight showing of The Room,
Right.
which is the worst movie ever. But everybody's going to
The
go.
worst.
No,
best
they
movie
do
ever.
though.
Yeah, they go. I mean,
They
nobody's
go in
going.
droves.
Nobody's gonna go to a midnight screening of Dunkirk.
It's coming back here in Minneapolis pretty
But
soon.
they're gonna bring spoons and go see the movie The Room and chuck spoons at the theater.
Yeah. Why is it the spoons?
He never gives a direct answer why. He never gives a direct answer in his life.
No.
Like,
That's the most
How did that
fascinating
start?
guy. Like, where does the money come from? You know, it had to been some like World War II trust fund stuff or
I know.
something. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Yeah.
Like, and he's got to be from Poland or some Eastern Bloc place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And he's like, "Where are you from?" "Oh, New Orleans."
I'm from-
"Oh no,
Can
I'm
you give
from
her
the
the-
bayou."
Is
Yeah,
this the?
I believe you. That's a total Cajun accent right
That's
there.
the charisma.
Tommy.
Is Tommy's just.
Think so?
Yeah.
No, I was joking.
Okay, good. I'm
Because
sorry.
there's nothing that comes out of that guy's mouth that is true.
Yes.
But what I did appreciate about the movie is the Franco brothers made them the relationship and what they did endearing.
Right. I mean, it didn't sound like an insult when you watched. the
No,
movie.
it was totally like you see this guy Tommy. He's a fucking weirdo, but and there was a little, like when he wrote that movie and all that stuff. He did a lot of that for Greg, but it was a little for himself though too.
Oh, it's a little it's a little bit of
Yeah, I mean he's like, well, I'm the main star in this movie,
But your name's Tommy, but in
Yeah.
the movie you're gonna be called Johnny.
Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. You're my #1 customer.
Oh my god! But that was
right,
number
I'll
7, The Disaster Artist, which was done very well.
We went from 4 to 6.
Number 6 was from Japan. If you're knowledgeable about movies, you've come across
Okja?
Toshiaki Maki. I think you know Toshiaki Maki. He did the movie The Audition. He did Itchy the Killer.
I've seen Itchy the Killer.
Visitor Q. Very weird
Itchy the
movie.
Killer is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very weird guy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
works. In fact, he's so weird that they put him. He's in the movie Hostel.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He comes out of the building, and the guys asked his Toshiaki Maki, and he doesn't speak English. He had to rehearse what he said, and he goes, "What is it like in there?" And he says, "You'll spend all your money," something like that, right? And that was Toshiaki Maki in the movie Hostel because Eli Roth was such a fan of his horror movies.
Give him a camera.
He's been making movies, I think, since 1988. This was 100th movie he made, and it's called Blade of the Immortal. And it's awesome. It is just action
that good?
samurai.
This is the
yeah.
movie that you what? This is the movie you said that is on your list.
Probably a
Yeah,
way
it's
better
number
samurai.
6.
Probably a way
What's it
better
called again?
samurai movie than the one you love.
Blade of the Immortal.
Okay.
It's
I
actually-
want to write that one down.
I'm checking it out.
Because I haven't seen it.
It's based on an anime, and it's action, but it's not it's not silly action. It's like almost like Kill Bill. He's going to take on 100 people, and it's just going to be fantastic. And the whole point of the story, this anonymous person gives him the power not to die, which is beneficial to him because he's not the greatest sword fighter. In fact, he's pretty terrible at it, but he can't die, so he gets all marked up and stabbed all the time, and just
And still is able to.
able to do it. And
Kill
the little
everybody.
girl's like hires him to come avenge my father's death, and it sounds like a simple story, but it's just. It really should be called Blood of the Immortal. There is so much going on.
Is it the old thing or is it the thing where they slash with the blade and then blood shows up on the camera?
Yeah, they do the homage to that,
that,
and it's just if you've seen enough of those movies, you recognize that you'll appreciate.
Remind me to write that down. Well,
Okay.
Oh, somebody tuned out. I'll have to take a quick
Stop.
little note.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing this because we are watching. There's a few people watching, and so if you want to submit things on the Flummery Facebook page
I got
or
the
YouTube,
chat up right now.
Good. So,
So and then
don't be afraid.
Matt Guile says guest backdrop is stellar.
How do you
yeah, see, I agree with you. I agree with you.
get it?
Yeah. I get it. Number 5.
Okay.
After it was one that was a big surprise, and I think you guys appreciate it. My wife would not appreciate it. She probably won't watch it. It was, and it's probably how much you can take of Vince Vaughn. If you really like Vince Vaughn, you like the movie. You don't like Vince Vaughn,
I know what you're gonna say.
Brawl in Cell
Sound
Block.
like 99.
Yeah, it was just
Was that good?
Oh, every inch of that movie was.
How do these
awesome.
movies not get more
It's
notoriety?
It's,
then
it's very much a B movie with some A actors in it.
Yeah. But the man should get an Oscar nomination for physically really assaulting a car.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
he really punched a window out.
Yeah, he punched a window out. He took like
I'm not. Maybe it's
the headlight.
Yeah, he punched them. But yeah.
I mean, the obviously the hood scene. He didn't. I
Right.
guarantee he didn't rip.
I mean,
that off,
obviously it's movie plexiglass, but he did go punch a window.
Yeah.
I mean, he beat up a car.
Yeah.
I mean, and just every inch. He's like,
why?
he just he's has this underwhelming anger.
You know, it got some weird reviews, like it was good and bad, and I was on the good side of it. Like I liked it a lot.
Right.
You know, there is things you can be like, oh my god, that's corny, or yeah, that's not whatever, blah blah blah. But I fucking loved it, man.
I mean, his character was so fascinating because he's not an idiot, but he's just
he's smart, but he's trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and he never has that luck, and he even says that in the beginning. He's like, you know, people are like this, and he's like, there's one thing I know how to do, and I'm going to do it, and he goes back to do it, but
one thing
him in the ass.
You'll never see this character is he'll never bitch. Like life would take a crap on him. He's like, all right, I'll just punch my way back up to the top again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a while to get to the cell block. It takes a while to get to the brawl. But it's still fun to watch, man. It's just awesome.
I couldn't believe, like, there's this one scene, the first guy he fights, the Asian guy.
Yeah.
And then just the...
I know, just along his face along the cement floor. It's just, it's a memorable scene. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to. All right.
Man, you got to do some catching up here, Adam.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just haven't seen a couple of them.
Hey,
That's fine.
you know that movie? Answer the question, where's Don Johnson? He's in the movie.
He was in another movie I watched.
Tubbs isn't it, though, but Don Johnson is.
You should have Tubbs as like a warden or another guy.
Yep.
You know what movie I saw of his from?
What?
Oh, it's called Cold in July, and the actor, you know, he's a Broadway actor, and he was
Right.
also Dexter, and he was in 6 Feet Under. If anybody remembers his name, that'd be good. But it's called Cold in July, and I would give that movie a watch. But there's
Is that the
some
one
stuff
with Bruce
that's-
Willis?
No, it's those two, and then the other guy is fairly famous, but I can't remember his name, of course. But Cold in July on Netflix, it's got pretty good critical reviews, actually.
I think
Yeah.
I think I watched that.
All right.
Go ahead.
And then, of course, number 3, because we already talked about my 1 and 2, but number 3 was Thor, Ragnarok.
I haven't
Really?
seen, I haven't seen that.
That was the most fun I've had in a movie
I
theater
refuse
in
to watch it.
ages.
Really?
It was so much fun to
I
watch.
thought it looked so stupid.
It's who cares? It is so much fun and
Is
so
it?
hilarious. It doesn't stop.
Okay.
I mean, the theme is depressing, but the tone is so up and it's so great. I mean, there's so many surprises. I mean, not Sam Rockwell. What was the Sam from Jurassic Park and Sam? Oh, I'm making it. I can't get him.
You're thinking of the main character in
Sam in Jurassic Park. Yeah, but he makes it,
Guardians of the Galaxy?
no. From the Jurassic Park, the guy with the hat. I
He's
can't remember.
the
But he makes a appearance.
paleontologist.
Sam. His name's Sam. No, I know what you're talking about.
I know. I
It's
know.
funny because he was saying
know,
Sam.
I
No,
know.
I know, but not Rock.
Yeah.
He was saying Sam Rockwell.
Not Sam.
Here we go.
Sam though.
Okay.
He's an English actor.
Yeah, he's in it. And then Matt Damon's in it. It's
Matt
fun.
Damon.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's in Thor.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Oh no! Oh no! He hates it.
See ya.
Hey, you got a rip in your armpit in your shirt. By the way. No, stay away. Stay away. Go smell my turd.
Kidding me?
But the funny thing is, they're making fun of Matt
It's
Damon
my
in
birthday.
it. He doesn't have any credibility. They're making fun of Matt Damon in it.
We just talked about this the other week, Adam and I did, on how Interstellar is such an awesome movie, and then you unzip the bag and fucking Matt Damon's there, and you're like, why does he have to be in everything?
He's good.
Like I said, if you watch the movie, it doesn't take away from him because they're making fun of him the whole time. Sam Neill. That's it.
That's
God,
it. Samuel.
Good job.
Sam Neill.
Did you just Google it or did you just?
I had to look it up. I can't believe I meant that. I forgot that. Dang it.
How do you get the chat, Lance?
So that was our
Real
top
quick.
10.
Fourth wall.
You
here.
would. Thor Ragnarok
right
was
there.
fun. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Would
All
be-
right, dude. Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Again today?
Yeah, it's gonna go like that today.
What the fuck, man?
You started this day off.
Get up earlier.
You started this day off.
No, you did. You were asleep. Ruining the podcast right now with your anger. Okay, I'm
It's
done.
all started because of Matt Damon.
It's Matt Damon.
It is Matt Damon.
And I'm not going to see any of his movies. You know, I told
Why?
Vince, Downsizing, The Wall, and Suburbicon. Forget you. No,
Really?
no.
Why not?
I went to so many
Well,
movie theaters.
The
I've seen
Wall
so
for
many,
sure. Don't bother.
Yeah, Suburbicon is so bad. And then
Was it bad?
I don't have to watch it to know it's terrible.
See, you can do that
And
too, but I get
downsizing.
made fun of when I'm like, I'm not
I
watching
want to
that
kind of
shit.
see that just so I can.
Downsizing, I think, is a really great idea, so I'll watch
I
it.
like the idea, but they do that
Get
Hollywood.
a lot out of your
that
vodka.
Hollywood, he's saving the world and its environmental impact
Oh,
and
okay.
all that crap.
I get you.
Yeah.
There's an agenda.
A component to it that's
There's an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
All right.
the movie saying don't litter on the highway when you get off on the exit ramp.
Or run over tiny people.
That's and it's a 2-hour long thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. That's
Is there a crying Indian at the end? Native
maybe.
American?
Maybe. It's Native American.
All
At
right.
least you haven't
Are
said
you gonna go?
retard
To, are
yet
you really
tonight.
gonna go to bed tonight, or are you just gonna stay up?
What do you mean?
There's no way you can go to bed.
Why? Because I have to watch something?
The game, yeah. There's no way you can go to bed.
Oh, I'll probably be able to pass out drunk. How's that sound, guys?
I think if they go to the Super Bowl, do you think they're gonna close schools the next day?
No. Only on Sunday they'll be closed, yeah.
You don't think they're gonna shut down school? They'll shut down the whole state the day after.
No,
Super
but I don't
Bowl?
think anybody will be surprised when people don't show up for school, though.
Right.
Lance, where's the chat on here?
You're missing it.
I would say that was number 2 or 3.
Thor was 4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I have to ask you a question.
I might get an answer.
The Thor Ragnarok, is it all in? I like the cartoony aspect of it because, of course, I
That
mean,
whole
it makes
aspect?
sense that it's
Alright.
going to be like that. Yeah, literally that whole
Literally?
aspect. Yeah, literally.
Literally.
But is it
Yeah.
the entire time? Is it just completely
CGI.
Slapstick fun? No.
Okay.
No, it's not. No. There's some seriousness to it.
there is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got an ending that I didn't see coming. I mean, I thought.
What
there-
happens?
Well, you think he's.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you see all these Marvel movies and you think that's going to happen. You're like, oh, okay, it didn't do it the way I thought it was, which
Well,
is nice and refreshing that they thought about that.
I haven't seen the movie, so this isn't a spoiler, and I don't know. I'm just like, for me, when you say something like that, I think, well, I think they kill Thor in the comics, or at least they send him to a different galaxy.
Well,
or
we
whatever,
know he's
different
not going to die
universe.
because he's in the Infinity War coming
Right,
up.
of course, but
Yeah,
that's something that they could.
right.
Well, I know that, and I think this premise kind of comes from where they have to. They send the Hulk to like a different dimension because he's so destructive, something like that. Isn't that's
Right.
in the comic books, right?
Right. Well, it was a self-imposed exile,
Okay, and he ends up somehow being able to go to a different dimension, doesn't he?
a different planet called Sakaar, which is in the movie Thor
Oh,
Ragnarok.
so that's where he's at.
yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured what was going on, but I like that there's that lore involved in there, but I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know. I'll watch it though. I believe in. We've agreed on just about everything you've said, so I'm just gonna go ahead and watch it. Right?
You know, it's something that was missing on my honorable mentions is the movie Logan and War for the Planet of the Apes.
War. I'll tell you one thing about War for the
you,
Planet of the
you brought
Apes.
War of the Planet of Apes, and like I said, I like that
The
movie.
beginning of that movie is so perfect by the way that, because you've got to prep the audience because they have to realize that this movie is showing you by the end of this movie.
You did see it?
Yeah.
War?
Okay.
Yeah.
You
War
had
for the
to
Planet
watch
of
it
the Apes.
recently, then.
I watched it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And the first several minutes are so like emotional to me because I think they did such a good job because what they're doing in that movie is they're transitioning the Earth to the apes. So humans like probably wouldn't like that. You know what I mean? Like you're not as a person going to be rooting for the apes normally, but they humanize them so. Oh my god! And Andy Serkis is
He's awesome.
I do like the
just
whole.
so fucking good.
I do like the
He
idea.
did a way better job in that than he did with Snoke.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, because there was no character development. That's
There's
right.
no depth to him. He's just stiff.
Did you notice that The Last
Oh,
Jedi
he's coming
hasn't been in
back.
his list yet?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you not like it?
I liked it. I'm not in love with it.
You're already 2 bars down on your light battery.
Yeah, I
It's
did.
the
like it.
battery or either the battery or the.
I'll order another set of batteries. That'll be the cheapest route.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, go ahead.
Go on.
Well, I did like how it's not clean cut on either side with War for the Planet of the Apes. I like it that how some guys are You know,
There's bad
some
apes.
apes are pulling for the good guy, the humans, and some humans are pulling for the apes. It was kind of a mess how war really is. Or how they treat apes. They spray paint them, they graffiti them, they beat the crap
And that's
out
totally
of them.
what would happen too.
Yeah, it's
What did they?
It's happened in history.
What did they
with
brand
other
into
people.
that one ape? It was like a brand or a
It's
shave.
Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, something, the Omega, which is if the whole continuous series of Planet of the Apes, it's a symbol that's used constantly.
Yeah, they're like the end of. They're like the humans are still acting like
More
they're the alpha,
human.
and
I thought it was a great movie. Okay.
it was
Moving on.
fantastic. And what was the other honorable mention though?
Logan.
Great movie. So heartfelt.
That movie made
heartfelt.
me go
Well, we did-
watch Shane, which I had never seen. Which is my favorite movie I've seen this year.
We actually cut it. We cut those two movies out.
I know.
Those are the two. I mean, that's how many good movies they are, and we just cut them out. But yeah, I did like Logan. It was
really good development of the characters.
And
in
she's
there.
X-23.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's basically
so
Logan's
compelling.
sperm.
Her character is so
Not
compelling.
sperm, but like
DNA. Yeah,
DNA.
she's a
clone. She's the
Yeah,
23rd clone they made.
Mercer. Yeah. So
And then last year, I would say was probably the best year in a long time for horror movies. I mean, there was a bunch of awesome horror movies.
did
that
you
came out.
see Houses October Built?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I thought that was a great found footage movie, and I had to give a shout out. I don't know if Lars will watch this, but my friend Lars pointed out that he was watching like 31 movies in October, and I'm not gonna lie, half of them I couldn't stomach because I can't watch that many bad movies. But and some horror movies are just bad. They're not awesome bad or funny bad or bloody bad. They're just bad.
Yeah.
But this one was a kind of a found footage type deal where they go around to, they've got like a couple weeks and they rent an RV and it's this group of friends. And I thought that the impromptu, the conversation was better and less like uptight than Cloverfield was.
Okay.
So like the interactions were more realistic, even though it was a horror movie versus a sci-fi or whatever. I thought that the scares were good, but they didn't. There's not a whole lot of whoa in the movie. There's just a lot of holy shit. That would be so fucking creepy if you were there. You know what I mean? And so the premise is they go around they rent an RV and they try and find the most scary haunted houses. And so
okay.
And so they travel parts of the country, and then by the end of it, they've started to hear about this one house that's like the one where people have died and all this shit, and then they eventually, of course, it's not a spoiler to say they eventually find the people involved in this like kind of black market horror house, house of horrors.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. It's a really good premise. And then they made a second one, and it's total garbage.
Yeah.
The 5 that I liked last year,
Yeah.
the 5 horror movies was Annabelle Creation, It Comes at Night, Super Dark Times,
It Comes at Night was fantastic.
The Void, and I'm missing one.
Did I see The Void? I think I saw
The Void is on Netflix.
Is that a remake?
The Void is on Netflix. No, it's an homage to all the movies that you and I grew up on. A bunch of guys are in their 20s making a movie that's, if you've seen enough of The Thing on Hellraiser and all that stuff,
I can't remember if I
and
saw
it's
that or not.
old-fashioned technology. It's not. They really make these props and stuff.
Cool.
And I really appreciate it. They made the effort. And it's a public-funded movie from Canada, The Void.
Yeah. They're
budget-
in the hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the triangle.
Yeah, The Void. I loved it. I was like, it's not a great movie, but it's an homage to all the movies that
It's got a very 80s vibe to it.
It got a 50-50 critical review.
Yeah.
I know that, but I know there were some really good things said about it.
I did see that.
And I actually started to watch that, and I had to stop it and do something else. But that is one of the ones I had planned on seeing.
And then you can put Bye Bye Man on there.
It's another one of yours?
Lance, it is such a bad movie.
It's The Room.
It's so
of
bad.
horror
It's like
movies.
The Room horror movie. It is so much fun to watch.
Bye-bye, man.
The Bye Bye Man. It
I'm
is
looking it up right now.
so bad to watch.
do that.
You can probably find it on 15 YouTube channels and nobody's stopping
That
it.
was the best line. Like
3 friends.
that's how you know it's bad. They're not like that's how they're gonna get their notoriety is on YouTube. They're not selling them.
It's so everything is a misstep to this movie, and it was so fun to watch that you just
One user review so very, very terrible, it's actually hilarious. And he gave it an 8 out of 10.
I agree. It's so bad. and Carrie Ann Moss is in it. All of a sudden, she appears, and you're like, "What? You were in the Matrix, and she's in this bad movie." It is so bad. And it came out.
She wasn't really that good in the Matrix.
Well, no, but
As an
I mean,
actress.
you expect. I mean, it's so bad.
I gotta watch that now too.
And the funny thing is,
it's that sword one, the one you told me to watch, and then the Bye Bye.
You just text me that list. There's 4 on there I haven't seen.
in the first 5 minutes, and you know what? You know how you know it's a bad movie is they move into the house, and of course it's a big house party.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have they play drunken baseball. Anytime they get drunk and play sports, you know that filler.
Yeah. It's kind of like when they play sports on The Room and they're throwing the football in the alley and they're fucking in their tuxedos and you're like, what is the fucking point of this?
That's when my wife and I we watched Twilight.
Tuxedos?
We watched Twilight. I was like, okay, we bottle something. We'll do it. As soon as they started playing baseball, I stopped. We're not doing. And as soon as you start playing sports, I know it's filler, and you have nothing else to write about, and I'm taking it out.
Is it filler? Is it one of those where they have to show everybody? Oh, like you kind of
you don't have to write any lines. You just it's filler. It's just cream in the.
Well, what about Top Gun when they're playing volleyball and they got playing with the boys and they're like, and it's just all just greased up bodies.
It's just like 80s music video. Yeah.
Hey, did you? Okay, so I just watched The Snowman.
Oh my god.
Is that horrible?
It wasn't.
It got
wasn't-
like 17.
I knew who the
splats.
killer was halfway through the movie.
Sure.
And Val Kilmer's lines were dubbed over because he had throat cancer or tongue cancer. So you watch it and you're like, that's not his fucking voice, and you can just tell it's like.
So it must be like when you watch The Simpsons in Germany, and it's not.
Stop slapping the stuff.
It must be like watching The Simpsons in Germany when they have German voiceovers and it doesn't sound like Homer at all. And you're like, what?
Why do they think this voice is funny?
Well, Val Kilmer's. I didn't realize he was in it until I started watching. It said Val Kilmer, and then his lines were like nothing. There was barely him in there, and when he did talk, it was like, where's that voice coming from?
I am Val Kilmer. Hello, I am.
Yeah,
Val
he doesn't
Kilmer.
look good at all.
Why did he
A lot
not?
of partying.
Why did he just not make enough friends to not get nominated for playing Jim Morrison? Because he should have been.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, he should have been nominated. He didn't get nothing for that. He should have been nominated for playing Jim Morrison. It was so convincing.
He did pretty fucking good.
I just think he didn't make a lot of good friends, and they kind of like,
I think he just, he maybe rubs people the wrong way in real life.
Does he?
I think so.
Is he a dick? Has anyone heard that?
Maybe he just doesn't. I don't know. I think he just plays his own horn. He just goes to his own tune.
Yeah,
that's all it is. He's not. He's not sucking. I don't think he sucks up. Like Hollywood, like 90%, 92% of Hollywood is people sucking up to each other.
Right. He's not going to go on the late night show and
that's
kiss his
probably
butts
true.
and stuff like that. He's not doing
What's
that.
that?
I said, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, they're all fucking like, I'll stroke your dick if you stroke mine. And they're like,
There you go. There you go. That's what we're looking for.
Well, that's why you go to the that's why you go to the award ceremonies to network and get
all the
here's
Golden
Christopher
Globes and all
Nolan.
that stuff. They're
Kiss
just
ass,
stroking each other's fucking egos. That's all it is.
I know. Because if it was authentic, Gary Oldman should have been have an award by
And
now.
I'm tired of this Meryl Streep chick.
You're really on. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. She's not as good as an actress as everybody says she is.
No.
Everybody's like, oh, Meryl Streep.
Well, she's finally getting kind of her comeuppance because
She's like a Matt Damon. to me.
well,
I
because
think she
they're
lives in
like
her own
calling her a
little world,
hypocrite because she was the Weinstein lady.
So was Oprah. Oprah was all buddies with him too.
Well, but I don't think Oprah was as involved in the.
Right.
I doubt she knew as much as, Meryl Streep knew.
Yeah. I'm sure she
I'm
probably
sure
watched a
Streep
few
saw some
Harvey
bad shit
Weinstein
happening,
porno videos that he made.
or well, at least saw him do something completely untoward to somebody and was just like, wow, whatever.
All I say is just shut up. Quit making
I'm
it a
making
big
money.
deal.
It's fine.
Shut up. Right.
I want to see it.
I am going to watch because they dug themselves a hole so big that there's just no way that the Academy Awards, because they kicked out Harvey immediately. Well, what about the rest of these people that you've dug yourselves a hole that there's no way you can get out of now? And I can't wait to see how you going to save face this time.
Well, I think you're kicking people out, and then that vacuum is just going to suck some more people in. So I don't think it's an issue.
I'm curious to where this Corey Feldman thing is going to go.
Yes.
It's still kind of like on this little edge.
I
and it's not,
completely believe him, by the way.
I do too.
I mean, it's just the weird fucking shit that happens in California.
Right.
And everybody knows that
All you have to do is put a little crack in the wall, and it's just gonna
water's just
it's-
gonna come pouring through.
That's why I'm gonna watch the awards this year. There's gonna be some.
And how great was it that who's the Family Guy?
Seth
MacFarlane.
MacFarlane. Thank you.
Did you notice he was in Logan Lucky?
Was he
He was a race car driver.
for real?
That's Seth MacFarlane.
You
Yeah,
know
it
what?
is. Yep.
Why didn't I even? Because I know exactly.
Yeah.
I must have noticed that when I watched it, but that movie was really good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it was an honorable mention. Yeah,
That was
For your
very
top
good.
10,
it was an honorable mention. Yeah, it was.
Adam Driver's best movie of 2017.
That's awesome.
I love when they do the bank robbery. They call him the Ocean 7-Eleven.
Oh man,
It's very,
I love his fake
fucking
arm in
good.
there too,
So good.
fake hand or whatever it is.
And he's such a kind of a
Yeah.
dolt, you know. He's just like,
That was-
okay,
okay.
So we get back on track on your top 10. Where were we on number 3 or 2 here?
Oh, we're done with it. We did all of them.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're done. I don't want to do the honorable mentions, but there was one movie last year that's hard to watch.
We're doing
the,
it as
the
we're
beginning. If you've seen, it's called The Killing of the Sacred Deer, and I gave a warning.
that's
to
on my
everybody.
list. I'm gonna watch that.
Killing of the Sacred Deer.
That's what it's called. Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman. It's
Oh, I've seen previews for that.
it's acquired taste. It's very metaphorical.
Yeah, I got mixed,
It's very
yeah.
staged. It's all like a Stanley Kubrick film. The first 5 minutes of the movie is close up of open heart surgery. If you can tolerate it,
I don't have a stomach for that shit.
and
I could.
and you can have it on your big screen at home of just sternum is out, heart's going, and
Of a real open heart surgery, or is it all?
it's very hard to tell if it's real.
If it's real.
Yeah, it looks authentic. It's really, I mean, there was open heart surgery in Flatliners, the movie Flatliners. For some reason, like
The new one or the old one?
the new one, there was like a little snippet of open heart surgery.
What did you think of the remake?
It
Pretty
was
bad. Right?
flat. It was
Yeah.
perfect. There was a nice title. It fit.
Flat
It was
liners.
completely flat. It had no life to it at all.
Have you ever watched an entire
In
movie
fact-
like this?
In fact,
Oh,
Keith Sutherland is in the movie, the new Flatliners, and he has nothing to do with the story. They just put him like a cameo in there, and he's sitting there like he's flat. Just
why am I doing this?
exactly. Just give me a check.
Is it like Tyler Durden in Fight Club, where they just show flashes of fucking Tyler Durden before he's Tyler Durden?
That would be more interesting. They
What's wrong
should
with
have. Yeah, they should have done it. Yeah, but even the original Flatliner wasn't a good enough to do a remake. on.
No, it's not. Why?
It's a stupid movie.
I mean that. Movies like that. Like I remember watching that when I was younger because that came out in the late '80s, I believe.
yeah.
And it never really set in my head as a movie that I need to own or watch again.
No, I saw it one time. Yeah, and it was bad.
Yeah.
It was
Let's
so
remake-
bad that it was in
Let's
syndication
remake it.
on like the 3 channels we had out at the house, out in the country. So like probably a year and a half after it came out, that's how bad it was. Like it didn't. I don't think it made a whole hell of a lot of money. I might be wrong, but it was. Yeah, it wasn't that good.
Did you see the new one that just came out on Netflix called Before I Wake?
No.
It's pretty
No.
good. I like it.
Okay.
It's supposed to be they call it a horror, but it's more like a fantasy.
All right.
You know?
I watched the first 10 minutes of the new show of the Netflix show Dark.
Yeah, I tried to watch it and I just can't get over the German to.
Yeah, but then they're speaking English too in it. I'm like, what's going on here? I thought it was kind of like, at least it was neat that it made me go, wait, is this a German movie?
Well, I know a lot of
Because
my
they speak English the whole time.
a lot of my horror movie podcasts
From what I saw.
and stuff. They put on their top 10 Creep 2, and I don't get that on Netflix. That Creep and Creep 2, I don't. They like it.
I was gonna watch that, but I just didn't.
I don't know what they. I question myself. Do I have weird taste? Why does everybody like this movie and I don't?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't. The Creep is just.
So they made a second
There's
one
just-
because the first one was kind of like a cult classic to some people.
Yeah, and they made this part
That's
2,
the
and it's
thing.
on people's list. The one I did like is Super Dark Times, and that's hard to find. That might be on Hulu, and that's there's no monsters in it, and it's shot really well. I think it will be one of those cult classics because it's just went under the radar, and I didn't know about it until horror podcast started.
Is that the one where the kids kill each other with the sword?
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good in the beginning.
I did. I think I rented it on Xbox.
And the tone starts right away. I mean, all of a sudden this deer breaks into a school and it's still alive, and it's just kind of a metaphor of what it's going to take place, a trail of blood, and it's in the school, and then how the police are going to handle it, and they beat the crap out of it to his dead, and it's like, all right, I know how this movie's going to go.
Yep.
Was the deer black?
Wow.
But that's the point in...
Wow. Holy shit.
Well, I mean, they're cops.
Well, that was a kind of a subplot in...
Is that too much?
Wow.
That's maybe that's like maybe Tom Segura could pull that off, but I can't. That's not a good joke.
He's pretty close with the black people, so...
You're going to have to write a letter, maybe.
I don't think I will.
Write a letter.
Maybe I'll get fired. I don't know. Whatever.
But that was a...
That part's going to just go...
That was a subplot in Three Billboards, that the cops in the town of Ebbing have a reputation, and it's constantly used against them.
So you have to watch that movie.
It is
still.
a metaphor. Just saying.
Adam still has to watch Legend with me.
We should, and this is a $1 million idea, and I'm giving it out for free.
Okay, write this down.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt and I say I'll only judge you by which Tim Curry movie you like.
You know, he's in a wheelchair now.
No, why?
You didn't know that? He had
No.
a massive stroke.
Oh, really?
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, he can only like move his
Non-Curry
head,
related.
pretty much.
So it was, okay.
He's like,
Then they talk about the government, and he's like,
yeah, like fucking Legends of the Fall.
oh, I love that movie.
But it'd be a good analogy because he's done so many different
Characters.
spectrums. Yeah, from
I mean,
Rocky Horror Picture.
People are gonna say Rocky Horror Picture, but like him playing Darkness and Legend was amazing.
Yeah.
That was part of one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Did he get like a headache?
From wearing that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that that's probably one of the most
migraines.
amazing devil-like characters and how they portrayed and what he looks like. It's so impressive.
The makeup was great.
The
I
makeup
have
was
seen,
amazing.
part of that scene, part of the scene with him. So yeah, it is a very
He's
good,
like wine fills up with like
creepy,
blood.
freaky guy in that.
He is. I mean, they did a fantabulous job on
What's
him.
the Tim Curry movie that you shouldn't like?
I do like Clue, and I shouldn't like it.
I haven't watched it. There's a lot of boob shots in that.
I have a question. I had a question, and I want to not say it because I can't remember what it was. It was about a movie with a very disturbing part in it, and now I can't remember what it was. So fuck it.
I'll give you the most disturbing movie is Irreversible. It's from France. And
Irreversible.
it's called Irreversible. It's very hard to digest, and it goes in. It's like Memento. It starts at the end and goes backwards. And it's about a guy whose wife gets raped and murdered, and she's Monica Bellucci, and it's shot very
Ooh, I thought
disturbing.
Oh, I know she
Yeah.
is. She's an Italian actor.
And it's Monica Bellucci, and it's shot very
She's
disturbing.
got the blonde hair though. It's kind of blondish.
She dyed it.
She dyes it.
Yeah, but it's Irreversible is one of the ones I've watched a lot of them. I've watched his Faces of Death, man, and Irreversible still was hard to, watch.
So, you mentioned it comes at night earlier.
Yes.
I remembered my question. So, I did not expect how the last portion of that movie would affect me. I did not expect that would happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of saw it happening, but then they became friends, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it started to get a little boring, and then boom, they just hit you. It's like they're worried that one of them's got that.
Right.
disease.
It starts this way, and then second, and then the end is.
Holy the ending is just with the howling and the screaming and crying. Oh,
You guys are on one side of the fence on that movie, and I'm on the other one.
You didn't like it.
No.
It was kind of
was it
uneventful.
disturbing? Was
I'm
it
still
disturbing?
waiting. I'm still waiting to see what comes at night. So that's just me.
Did you really not know what that? Okay,
I like that. I
never
like
mind.
that. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
fine.
even
That's
into
just
it.
my opinion. I don't.
Give me something, right? Give me
mean,
something.
Well, what?
I know you guys liked it. That's fine. That's how I felt about it. You guys liked it.
I'm not
and
offended. You
I
liked
didn't.
it. I didn't. Who cares? Move
yeah.
on.
I'm
Right.
offended.
I know Adam is.
Did you But did you not? Okay, well, I'll ask you this. You didn't like it. That's fine. I get it. Everybody has their own taste. Some people know how to watch a movie, and some people don't. But do you want? Do you think that at least? I'm kidding.
I know.
Do you think that at least the ending was very fucking disturbing?
I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I like that.
You're
I didn't like that happened,
Right.
but I like that. I mean, that was the only real action in that fucking movie.
Right.
True.
I mean, everything else is just like, who are you with? And they try to make it suspenseful, but that
Well, they
kinda,
have to
that,
set up how they
that
could
kind of
get there.
drags on, and you're like, all right.
If
I get
they
it.
It did drag on.
had,
I
get
did
it.
say that. Yes.
if they had something of,
That's true.
If they shot something of creatures and you didn't really see them doing something to the dog, like you see what they are, instead of just showing the dog coming back, that would have meant something. Then you got something to gravitate to, like that's what they look like, or something like that, or well, that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was.
Yeah. Instead of just being,
Even if something like that flashed its eyes, or something did this, or it doesn't have to be. But give me, I mean,
Oh, there's no monster.
John Carpenter said it. Show me something.
Yeah.
Don't just it's in the woods and stuff.
well, you
Show
hear
me something.
the screams or the
Oh, the
yelps or
screams
whatever.
are like, show me something.
No,
you know?
it is the paranoia.
Right.
It's a disease that again, there's not like what I took away
I think
was
they
that
just-
it's the disease, and it's not like
But still,
zombies and
And
stuff.
I agree with Lance, and I still like the movie. But show me something. Give me something to like. That's what it is, or just
They
don't
did,
give me
like,
screaming
people
out at
get
a
sick.
distance and not ever show me it.
Are they sick, or is it just them? It's not being sick. It's just them closing themselves off and not.
No,
being
because
able
the
to
rest
deal-
of the world they got it's like an epidemic movie.
Yeah.
It's not a zombie movie. It's like an epidemic movie.
There was another. Oh, what was?
So they have to
Yeah. Yeah.
seclude themselves, and then they don't want people to come in
There's
because they might
another
bring
movie like this,
in the contagion.
which it's like the Irish. The guy is like by himself, and these
Really?
two women
Okay.
come.
Okay.
The Survivalist or something like that.
It sounds familiar.
It's kind of like a
think it's
post-war kind of another movie. That was better than It Comes at Night, in my opinion. But
Okay. I have to
The
look at that.
Survivalist. Do
it's
you
something
know
like
anybody
that.
that's in
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that's in
No,
it?
it's nobody you know. It's just
Okay.
a really good, simple. Like it. There is no budget to that fucking movie other than building a shed where they were at and doing whatever they did, and they did it right.
I do. I love those.
I mean,
love those.
it brought
Yeah.
it brought acting back to its core, and I'll figure out the name of the movie. But
It's funny you say that, and then you didn't like the acting didn't kind of compel you in It Comes at Night.
I had a totally different idea how that movie was going to turn out, and I felt let down.
Oh, okay. All right. Like
So
you
I
wanted
had
to see it
I had
more.
expectations of
I
how
thought it was clear from the beginning that they were afraid that they were going to get infected by this, bug or contagion or whatever, because they
Yeah, I
showed
mean-
the grandpa dying, and they had to kill him because
they
he
put
was
him in the great.
contagious.
This is
Well, you can put
You
it
know
on,
what I mean?
You can put it on the Flummery. 1 out of 2 like this movie.
Yeah,
2 out of 1,
half.
2 out of 3. You guys both liked it, right? You said it was
Sure, yeah.
it was on your
Yeah.
top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so 2 out of 3 liked it.
There. That's average. A little bit of. I think it's on. I think that's the
66.6%
average on Rotten
repeating.
Tomatoes. So what the hell? What are we arguing for?
Is it what is
Well,
it?
no, it is a podcast.
What is
I
it
mean,
sitting
we
at
gotta
like
talk about it.
67%?
Sure, I think so. Yeah. So what the hell?
Is that really average
I don't
on the Rotten Tomatoes?
I would imagine.
I'd be
Also,
interested to see if most movies get rated higher than 50%.
I
You know
am.
what I mean?
I am. I did submit
It'd be
my form. I did submit an official request to the IMAX company to re-release The Dark Knight for 10th year anniversary, and I did
How
get a
do you-
response back from said
You really did?
yes, I did an official. I think it would be
shit.
no, I really did. I sent a letter, sent an email, and they responded back. Go, won't be surprised. You're not the only one. So I think if everybody sends them a request, we might get a 10-year anniversary release of The Dark
Just
Knight.
a
on
great,
IMAX.
great rebirth of that whole franchise. Just fucking awesome. I like it.
What year did that come out?
10 years ago,
98.
2000.
2008.
2008. Yeah. Yep. It's 10 years. You want to do the math again?
And Scrum.
Oh
right,
man, this is good.
We could do. I mean,
So if you want to send like an official Flummery email to request it, make it official, and then you can put it up there like this is the email to send it to.
continue, you guys.
You I know where he's going. He wants us.
No, I don't.
I will.
I just want. No, we don't need to talk about it because.
So
but,
you just.
I'm just
submit it to
amazed
the
that they
studio?
responded back to me. That's amazing.
I give you props for that, buddy.
That's awesome.
Just amazed that you're not the only one. I don't think I am. I think.
Oh,
that,
I'm
yeah.
sure. I mean, there's lots of us out there, you know, people who want
Right.
to see the good shit.
Yes. So, book.
Yeah.
You wanted an update?
Yes.
Okay.
Because remember last year you were going to do a page a day and it would be done by now.
And it
You said
that was the goal.
page a day and it
I
would
know,
take
it's
a year.
fucking
Is that what you
yeah.
said?
Page a
It's
day
been
would
about
probably
a
take up a
year.
year. Yeah. And we're probably about halfway. Probably to the point where I'm just going to have to stop halfway and publish it and then do the rest and continue. Because I can't do it all
Continue
at
the
once.
story.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can do it as a two-parter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it that way.
Right.
Is
it
that
would
what
be-
you're going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a series like any other graphic novel.
So I'll probably have to probably
Well, remind the folks what you're doing here.
Okay. I'm working on my own graphic novel the old school way. So drawing it out and then I'm scanning it, but I'm doing the old school way of drawing it out and doing the words on it.
You're just doing ink, though, right?
I'm penciling in ink, old fashioned way, and I'm doing a story that takes place in 1968. I wanted the authentic look of a comic.
In the Twin Cities?
Yes, in St. Paul.
In
So
St. Paul.
it's a murder. It's like a film noir murder investigation in 1968. So it's a comic book, but doesn't have any mysticism in it, no superhero stuff like that. It's a very crime gritty, noir of cops investigating a murder and the whole tangle spider, the web and uncovering mysteries and clues and stuff like that.
Okay.
And what's taken so long, obviously I can draw. What's taken so long is I'm referencing real people. So a lot of my friends...
You're doing research at the same time.
And doing research at the right time because I'm putting real events. And I'm drawing people that do exist. So that takes a while of having their likeness and stuff like that in the book. And so that's what's taken probably the longest is because, here comes my friend. All right, I have a bunch of photographs of him and sit and draw. Well, that doesn't look like him. That doesn't look like him. So I'm on chapter 3. I'm going to probably stop it at 4 and publish the first part of the book.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, just to get it in there and stop talking
And
about
you're
it.
going to do your own
Self-publishing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm looking for a publisher that will do it in newsprint like the old comic books.
Oh my
you get
God,
that
that'd be
kind of
cool.
texture.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
And I found a couple of online publishers that are willing to do that because it's still they don't have the materials. Some people don't. They still do this gloss. That's just cheaper. That's where you could find
So
it.
then you would have to go around with yourself with the copies and bring them to different stores to see if they would put them on the
Well,
shelves.
you do the whole comic book circuit thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You do
Well,
the
and
whole
the
whole
thing-
promotional trail.
And if you're going to do something
yeah.
one way, go the whole way.
So
You want it to be old school and you want it to look the part of your story.
Yeah, I
is
wanted
what
the
you're doing.
newsprint feel. I wanted
Yeah.
the whole smells like the old comic books of the
It's
60s
supposed
and
to
70s.
bring and that will
Yeah.
help bring in the whole idea, like the whole ambiance.
You're gonna need somebody to. You're gonna need to design some cool when
Yeah.
you go to your little booth thing and you have these cool little stand-up stuff.
Right, you have to do that.
Right.
Yep, and you go to the comic book conventions. I'm not at the point. I'm probably eventually going to at the point where I'm going to look for somebody who is a graphic designer for covers, because you can be a good artist, like draw it out, but some people can't do covers very well,
Right.
and I can't do covers very well. We
Actually,
just did our new logo, and my wife and I worked together to get our new logo for the podcast, and it's very simple, right? It's very simple, but I don't have that brain to do a simple logo design for a book. So hopefully, once they get the pages done, I can find somebody that would.
So you want a logo, or is it the
Like a-
design of your wording? Because I'm happy with what we have there. I love that.
I just want like a
know?
normal book cover that's not going to take away from the story. It's just going to entice it. That's
Yeah.
that's a hard trick to do when you do book covers.
Yeah, to get the whole idea on the
But
front.
you're
of the
rebranding.
thing.
You're rebranding your podcast too. You said, right?
Yeah, we have a new logo, we have a new intro and all of that stuff. So that's what we did on break and a whole new design and stuff like
And
that.
I'll be able to hear that tomorrow.
Yeah, and we will have a new interview. So after I'm done recording, I have an interview scheduled up with.
We should probably give them a shout out too.
right? Yeah.
For
Well,
the few
she's
people that see this.
a little skittish. Her name's Morgan. She's on the new Frankenpod podcast. So she's talking about Gothic stuff and literature. And I talk about, hey, I was going to do Frankenstein. Would you like to come on? And she's like, yeah, well, I've never done this before. I was like, who cares? Just
Yeah,
come on
it's
and
just a conversation.
She's never done a podcast.
Yeah, this is the 1st
We're
time.
still learning how to do a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you.
People still get nervous too when I talk to them about being on the show, and it It's funny how they get nervous because it is just a conversation.
Well, like I told you guys, take your first 50 episodes and flush them down the toilet because your first 50 is
Done.
all, it's garbage, you know?
well, you're 45 here.
Yeah, so you're gonna be in the trash.
Take your first 40 episodes, flush them down the toilet.
I mean, definitely. If I listen to the first podcast that I did, it's with
hard.
Scuba Steve. The second one was with him. They weren't together. Like or a quarter of the first podcast, I'm sitting under a desk messing with wires, and Steve's fucking like talking, and I'm like, "Yeah, just keep going there, buddy."
That was funny. I was like, why is this on the interwebs?
So I always help new ones because it's hard. It's hard to get started, and then you start questioning yourself because it's hard to get viewerships. It's hard to get your bearings, and once you get your bearings, it gets a little bit easier. But you know, it's hard. I mean, one of the most successful ones it just happened last year was called the Wine and Crime Podcast. Those three girls,
Wine and Crime.
they're from Minneapolis. They started last year. They're up to
Yeah,
1
listen to
million
this.
downloads.
We suck so bad.
They're up to 1 million downloads, and they just know how to market themselves. They talk about true crime, and they pick a bottle of wine. Now they got advertisement. Now wines want them to drink it and talk about it on their podcast. Now they got interviews from people on the ID channel talk about true crime. You know, they got notice.
Have
on
you met
Buzz-
them?
Yeah, I had them on before, and they're Amanda. She lives in Minneapolis, and we're scheduling to come back in summer. So,
Okay.
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean they did it smart. Their first podcast, before they even did it, they built it up there where they could have a live show at a brewery.
That's
And
their first podcast.
That was their first
How
podcast.
did they set it up and just
They
know?
just promoted. They talked about it. They promoted. They got on Twitter and talked about that we're gonna do. Come on, you get all this stuff for free, and
oh,
they
wow.
did-
They must have like friends in the industry or something. Then.
Yeah, and they're in the retail business. They're in
Okay.
food business and stuff like that. And they had, and then all of a sudden, before their episode, they had 100,000 of followers before they even started 1 minute of their podcast. You know, they're just good, really good at what they do and promoting.
Everybody get on your phones or your computer and fucking like the Flummery right now. Promotion.
I think
But it's one of those. I think there's a lot of bearded white guys on podcasts. You know,
yeah.
there's a lot of bearded white guys, and there's
We
not a lot of
are-
girls on there. And
It's easier to sell a girl,
Right.
That I mean, I'm gonna say this: it's gonna be easier to sell a product like that for girls, and they probably are doing a fantastic job. But we're two fucking schmucks doing this thing right now.
Yeah,
there's
I made
a lot
a
of us
really
two fucking schmucks.
bad
doing this.
joke earlier
No, and
that
it's-
I regret now, and like
It's okay.
we're schmucks.
it's hard. It's hard
I don't
to,
regret it. It was funny.
you know. And I catch myself trying to speak too locally. I catch myself talking about stuff that, you know, nobody in Japan listening gives a crap about.
Like,
and
oh,
I gotta
wanna go
remember
to
that.
St. Paul now.
Yeah, I gotta remember that there's people in other countries that are listening that don't really give a crap what I'm talking about that happened at the grocery store the other
Right.
day or something like that. I catch myself once in a while, but yeah, and you just get attached to friends and stuff like that. So, and then you got to get on iTunes. I mean, any successful podcast is on.
Yeah,
iTunes.
we've been waiting for Adam to help us do that. So,
We're doing that tonight.
I mean, we got the video stuff going now. Obviously we're still doing the audio. I mean, that's the first and foremost for us. You know, it's
Right, and I've listened to so many podcasts that are really good, but the audio is so terrible that it's hard to even listen to for a couple moments.
We're gonna have to give
Yeah.
you more light.
If you have good audio, it helps so much.
Yeah,
It-
I think we do a pretty good job here on it.
yeah, the audio is you guys are one of the best ones of that. The audio and the way you guys bounce it off is one of the best ones. But you can have a great idea, and if you don't know how to do recording, it's
Yeah.
you know.
Like Bill Burr has one, and his is pretty popular. But he sounds like he's in an echo chamber when he's doing
he does.
his.
He's got the tin
you know?
canny. Oh God!
And
Okay,
some people
so
can't last-
I gotta say something here.
can't.
Is this the right? This is the right time. Okay,
Yeah.
it's 10 minutes fast, or it's 8 minutes fast. But
Yeah.
we're actually on a bit of a time parameter on this episode.
You got to be at 7:30ish.
because
Yeah, I'm doing my Skype interview.
You got your
Morgan's in us.
You got your colonoscopy.
Yeah, she's in Australia. So it took a while to coordinate this interview. So it's going to be 8:30 at night, but it's going to be 1 o'clock Sunday in the afternoon for her. So we had a I had to remember that she's 17 hours ahead of me.
So we got about 15 minutes.
I always get confused about that
Yeah.
when I'm thinking on where they're at and what are they ahead or behind us?
They're ahead of us. So I always tell
Yeah,
my churchy religious people who think the end of the world is coming eventually that
We'll know.
We'll know because Australia will be the first.
So does that? There it goes.
It'll be like, when they celebrate the New Year.
There goes my light.
Yeah, there it goes. I'm sorry.
There goes my light.
All right, here.
Right when I said the end of the
I
Right,
feel
right.
fine.
You know what that means? It means this is it for the Flummery.
Could be a good movie premise.
Dun, dun, dun,
I'll just do
Does
this.
this help?
Dun, 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 dun.
Fucking light. I thought you had the plugins for those.
Well, let's check the video. God damn it, I do. They're sitting on my fucking radiator. You're good. You're good.
I know. I mean, I always look good. So, are you guys ready for the Solo movie?
Just
Or
remember,
is that
none of
gonna
us
just
look as
blow
good
Die
as we
Hard?
used to look.
Comes out in a couple months, doesn't
Mhm.
it? I have heard.
We don't have anything on it yet.
I have heard nothing. They've really
I heard that Aaron.
Wait, a
Hard,
new
right,
Die Hard movie?
No, Solo.
had solo.
Oh,
I heard some bad stuff about the
I
acting.
misheard
from him.
that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like it's going to be it's just going to be let go, not released.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
What, is it that
no,
bad?
That movie escaped. It wasn't released.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking that
Yeah.
way. I mean, once Infinity War comes out, everybody else is just going to ignore everything.
Why is this supposed to be so bad? Who's playing him?
It's just,
Aaron Erdreich or something like that. I forget his name.
even Harrison Ford told him, "Don't do it." He told anybody, "Don't do it."
How do you pull that character off when you're
I mean,
not that
it's not going to
character?
be the same thing. You have it's like you got to be catching light, as Mark Hamill will say. You got to be really catching lightning in a bottle,
Well, you know,
The lightning bugs in the bottle.
and especially to pull off something
lot
that
easier.
Harrison Ford.
right?
Yeah, he's such a unique. I mean, there's a reason he's in two of the best
I'm
trilogies
going to go watch
ever
it
made.
because I want to see the backstory on how they handle like him meeting Chewie.
Have you
You
seen
know, all
the
that stuff.
Have you seen the
Absolutely.
test shots of Kurt Russell being Han Solo?
Yeah, I did. I did.
And Christopher Walken
Yep.
and was it
Well, we saw all that stuff when we were ramping up to the
Al
last
Pacino
movie,
was supposed
you know.
to. Al Pacino was going to go for Han Solo.
Oh, yeah, there's a testing of him in the
No,
costume.
that would have
yeah.
been horrible.
Where is she?
The best one.
Is she under the table? Where's that Millennium Falcon?
And
Yeah, he
Princess Leia's got a great ass.
He would have had to smoke a lot of cigarettes. Yeah, he's. I think he's still sucking down the heaters. The Tom Selleck one when he's auditioning for Indiana Jones.
Tom Selleck did.
Please
Yeah,
tell me.
remember he was supposed to do Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
and
I mean
he
he
said
would have fit, but
I don't know. I mean, that character
there-
relies completely on how well it's played.
you remember Sean
mean-
Young?
yeah, the chick.
Yeah.
she was in Blade Runner.
Yeah, there's an audition tape of Tom Selleck being Indiana Jones and Sean Young being Marion, and they're doing the bar scene.
Oh, in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. They're
Yeah.
doing the bar scene, and Sean Young's playing Marianne, and Tom Selleck doing Indiana Jones. It actually looks pretty good, even though it's like a test shot.
Well, they're good actors,
Yeah.
so it's like
It's one
that
of the,
helps. But I think in the long run, there's certain things that Harrison Ford does that just make you go, "Fucking dude's fucking cool, man." You know what I mean?
we went
is
to
fucking cool.
last year. Andy,
They have his little staple. He does this a lot.
yeah, he points a lot. Yeah, that's it. That's his signature acting move. Is
Yeah.
his,
Just a little, "Urgh."
how dare you, sir?
Yeah.
He did. Remember that to tell that to the
He does an
president.
Air Force One. He does
Yeah.
it, or
Get off my plane, Gary Oldman.
you could use a good kiss.
You got a poster over your bed of Gary Oldman. Like, I'm picking up on your.
So
He's
real
your
quick
man
here.
crush.
Yeah, and
Cool. I'm a Christian Bale guy.
you're kind of a Christian Bale guy. Well, yeah, you both have underlining anger in you that's about ready to go.
so
Get that director back.
I know how to end this off. As long as we're not movies.
Yeah.
An actor, would you say Gary Oldman is one of those actors, because I've talked about this before, is one of those actors that can morph into anything that he wants to? Like, you know how Al Pacino plays a part? He's fucking Al Pacino.
Yeah.
He plays.
Oh yeah, it's Al Pacino doing this.
Yeah, and De Niro,
Yeah,
he's still De
How does
Niro.
it-
But
yeah.
like, for me, it's who's the
thanks.
guy that was in There Will Be Blood?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
He is probably one of my favorite actors. That
He can
that guy
totally
can
morph. Yeah.
morph into
You're right.
anything that he wants to be in, like Lincoln or whatever he's.
There's a
done.
word they use in the business. It's called
Character.
it's a minus. You're too much of a chameleon. which means you're so good at it, you're not going to get noticed. And Gary Oldman's one of those. He gets so good at playing an actor, you forget that that's an actor.
Well, he's
yeah.
a character actor. That's like when they pass away, right? They're always in there. When they're talking about him, they're like, oh, he's one of the best character actors of all time.
Yeah.
Because he's always playing. He's rarely the main character, but he's always playing a really pivotal, like a really good.
This is awesome bookend because we started talking about beginning. We talked about Gary Oldman. Now we're ending it with Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman
It's
show.
called Romeo is Bleeding. If you can find it, remember that from the late '90s, and he plays this cop that's playing both sides. He's crooked, and then life is catching up to him.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Romeo's Bleeding is awesome.
Well, he's in The Professional too,
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
in
way
so
out of
much
this
shit.
gourd.
and Fifth Element. He's in Fifth Element.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
He had the best. I think he was the best in True Romance.
Batman.
What was his character in that one?
He thought he was black, and he is obsessed
Oh,
with
yeah,
Chinese.
Yeah, he had this weird cross thing going on. This
And
weird
he had
cross thing
grilled
going on.
teeth and everything. He was just
Yeah,
all
he just,
mixed
like-
up.
That was great.
That is so fucked up. How do you even?
He
I
beats
wanna
up
know-
Christian Slater as he tells him, "You thought it was White Boy Day." Gary Oldman, you are white, man.
How do you write that though?
I know.
Like,
No,
how do you even write that scene?
you're a guy who thinks he's black, but you're obsessed with Chinese culture.
Like,
So would you
what?
say that he is one of your favorite actors? Of
He
all?
is. I mean, he's one of those that he's on the building. I'm gonna have to go see it. Yeah, and he can play a good guy and bad guy. He's just one of those that's interchangeable.
Yeah.
I mean, well, especially in like the Nolan trilogies of the Batman, he is the consciousness of the Batman. I mean, as Gordon and everything.
Yeah.
He's the one that when everybody's going to crap, he's the moral compass. That
Right. He is.
yeah.
He's phenomenal in that
Yeah.
movie. He really takes that part is
Yeah.
probably his most
He's up there with. He's in my top 5.
probably one of his most
Daniel
regular
Day-
guy kind of parts. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to really like get
Yeah.
into it. He's just like, this is the way it is, and I'm the cop, and I have a good conscience.
I mean, go see him play being Sid Vicious.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen that, but I'm aware
Oh.
that he did it.
Yeah, he was great.
Kind of like Morrison and the Doors. You know,
Yeah.
just he really got in there and just did an amazing job.
So thank you guys for
Yes.
having me. That was
Let's wrap
awesome.
it up.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Very
Yeah,
good talk.
absolutely.
Thanks for your list. I got to write those couple movies down real quick too here. So
So we are going to wrap it up, but I want to say something quick. Obviously, check out Nick and Vince podcast
Yes,
on
thank you.
Podbean.
Thank you.
And
We are on
any other-
iTunes.
and on iTunes. What's that? Whatever. That's a fad.
it's the biggest. Yeah.
But
I guess we're never
absolutely
getting anywhere.
check it out because,
you.
and if you want a good starter episode, one you're really going to break into, they actually start the episode with something not completely different but related to movies on your best and worst of 2017,
Thanks.
which
Yeah.
is one I'm actually having listened to, 3/4 of it
Yeah.
so far is one of my favorite episodes I've listened to.
It's almost like a book.
So-
You just can put your marker in there and go back to
Yeah,
it. Right?
it's easy because I agree with most of the takes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't forget to check them out. Would the other two that we talked about tonight, want to give them a shout out?
We talked about the Frankenpod. I'm gonna have an interview with her. She's gonna be on the new episode for tomorrow, and our new girls that just gave it a shout out last night. The Shake My Head podcast.
Awesome.
Shake my booty.
Thanks,
my-
everybody. Tell your friends they can get on here and say a bunch of
Yeah.
stupid shit on our top chat.
Yeah.
And we out. Playing with the boys. So I'll try to remember to bring the DC 12 volter in